Hello and welcome to episode 41 of Flush and Pod. My name is Abby and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. Logan, we'll start with you. What did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I sucked. I played two armories. One I drafted Icelander. It was bad. I went 2-1 because I had a bye. And last night we did the cash draft. So adding the random pack in. This time I was adding a pack of Monarch to a Uprising draft.
Okay.
The only playable card out of my Monarch pack was the Shadow Beast because it blocks for 1. And 2 pods of 9 were what we had, and there were 2 Icelanders in this pod of 9, and there maybe were enough blues to support 1 Icelander at the deck or at the table. So we both had bad Icelander decks. And I was like, well, if I get paired against Dromai, I've got a shot because I've got 5 Singes and 2 Red Brothers and a Findle's Fighting Spirit in here, so I can pop some dragons. Now I got paired to Fine, got rolled. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
As one does, yeah.
Yeah, like you do. And so I just dropped, but then I kind of watched because realizing that there was no way I was ever going to win the Waning Moon, the Cold Foil Waning Moon in that armory, because somebody opened Stubby Hammers in their Monarch pack.
Oh. When do you open that pack?
You open it first.
Okay.
So they got to see that they had a Stubby Hammers, and they forced Fi as hard as humanly possible.
Literally anything else does not matter.
I wouldn't 1000%.
And wow. I'm pretty sure they won that one. Just saying.
Yeah. Wow.
There were some cool things to see though, like seeing seeing somebody get adrenaline rushed for 7. Oh, okay, that's a thing. Somebody the Stubby Hammers guy didn't die or didn't win. I believe Dagon won, but I'm not sure. But if I remember correctly, what happened was they played like torn, like take the tempo or whatever, the thing that banishes a card, one of the cards that banish a card from and they ended up banishing a blood deck card and not playing it.
Oh.
And it killed them. Because they
couldn't
turn off blood deck.
Yep.
Yeah, because you don't have. Why would you have that in your Uprising draft? Yeah.
Right.
Why would you have that functionality? Yeah.
So that I believe that's what happened. But yeah, once I saw that there were those types of shenanigans happening and I had none of them, I knew that I was just in for a very, very long night if I tried this. So I was like, it's 5 rounds. There's UFC fights going on that I can bet on and a bar across the street. I don't see why I'm in this anymore.
Yeah, there's better things to do. In Iowa, do you have the sports betting kiosks at bars, or do you just do it like through DraftKings on your phone?
6 one half dozen the other. You have some bars that have them.
Gotcha.
But most don't. However, so there are some that are like even so geolocated that if you're inside a specific establishment, you'll get bonuses based on the specific establishment that you're inside of while you're betting. And that goes for DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars. I don't think MGM does that yet, but yeah, all of those have some of that functionality built in.
Gotcha.
But I was still stoked by making money on the Iowa State under. So.
That's sweet. Yeah, the Iowa State under is
easy money, baby.
Yeah, Big Ten football, baby.
Big Ten football, baby. All right, Jordan, what are you up to?
I did less Flesh and Blood this week than I have in the past, like running 3 weeks, which was very nice. I don't think I actually listened to a single Flesh and Blood podcast, which I feel a little bad about because there's a couple of cool episodes from some of our friends that came out that I need to get to. I played a couple of games on Talishar. Or Flesh and Blood Online, as we'll talk about in a little bit. And then I played an Armory Friday. I played Viz again. I just didn't have time to build a different deck. I didn't want to play Viscerai. I wasn't really sure I wanted to go to Armory, mostly because like it was the end of a short week after a long weekend, and I was like really tired. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go because like there's a calling at the Nationals that I'm gonna play in, and so I should probably play the game. And I won my first round, and then round 2 got smushed by Icelander, and then round 3 lost to something. I lost to something and was like, you know what? I am just like actually tired. Like every match was good. Like all my opponents were cool and stuff. It was just like time to leave, similar deal to where you're at. It's like I could just like be asleep and or doing something else. So I left. And we're actually recording really early this week, so I haven't done any like Sunday afternoon fabbing than I might have typically. So, pretty light week in Flesh and Blood, but I think it was for the better, honestly. Ab, what about you?
I did nothing.
Asking questions that I know the answer to is really funny in the context of like,
yeah. No, I had a very bad week. So I mostly worked and slept and sometimes ate. And that was pretty much the extent of it. So not a whole lot for me there.
yeah,
So maybe
sometimes
this week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's a long story that we don't need to get into right now.
Suez Canal's backed up, and that like directly impacts Abby's job.
The railroad union is going to strike on Friday, and that's going to like destroy everything. So we're also doing a system change right now. It's been a week, let me tell you.
Yeah, so for people listening,
Fantastic.
it's 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday the 11th. Abby is going to hang up from this call and then go to work.
Yep.
So fun times in capitalist America. And
right.
You might go, well, surely you get compensated for that. Absolutely not.
Why would you?
Why would you? Yeah, why would they pay you for your time? So
That's like giving health benefits. Who's fucking doing that?
Yeah, no, we don't. Nope. I get a free lunch. Does that count? Does that count for anything?
That's not free.
No,
I hate to be the one to tell you that is not free.
Yeah, wow, that they've got you hook, line, and sinker if you're calling it a free lunch.
Like, oh
they've
no,
got
I'm well aware. No, but like basically my whole office is in. So it's been
this Jimmy John sub is here to placate you.
Yeah,
that's your.
I'm sure it'll be nicer than that. It would be at least Jersey Mike's.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Jersey Mike's is better. Yeah,
it is better.
Not to like this isn't really political, but I guess it is like current event news. The railroad labor union strike will impact like everybody. Mm-hmm. Like it will be like shelves will go bare type of thing if like the railroads don't like figure out how to work with like their labor base. And so like I hope they figure it out, but like I don't see that they will because companies are greedy.
Mm-hmm. Nobody uses trains anymore. Trains
screams in logistics. Yeah, screams in no toilet paper. Yeah. Anyway, well, welcome to Flush and Pod, a labor union podcast.
That's right.
Rise up against your corporate overlords, please do.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's get started because we are on a time crunch. Okay. So, first piece of news this week. So the Living Legend point system is updated. So basically what they did was they went, how many events are we going to have? And then kind of tailored the point system to that. Rather than just like having these numbers set and then, you know, they have more events than they thought and it really skews how Living Legend works.
Yeah. I think this is for the best, to be honest. Like, this isn't new, right?
No.
Like, they said this back in FaB 2.0's announcement that there are more events than they probably ever thought were going to happen for Flesh and Blood, so that these numbers needed to change. One of the biggest things that I'm happy we got an answer on was how the World Championship allocates points.
Yes.
The 100 of the 300 will go to your Blitz Hero. And that feels intuitive to me. If they're going to do the split format thing, like those Blitz Heroes did impact. They're in important rounds of the tournament. They did impact it. So I like this change. It looks like 3,000 is the point number that they're going to settle on for right now. 3,000 CC points a year and 1,500 Blitz points a year. I don't know. That number feels very arbitrary to me. Like I could very well see that number being what's changed more than like anything else. But I don't know how you guys feel about that. Whether that number matters or is like if they're guessing or what.
I'm sure there's some backtabling that went in to get to that number. Honestly, I don't think that they just said, "Fuck it, dartboard. I hit the 3K. Let's go."
They do
I
that
don't
with their
think
event announcements, so I
they
wouldn't be
do that with their
surprised.
event announcements. I don't think that that's what they do with this though. They see this is a number, so they had a plan ish. They had at least 7 options and a dartboard, and then they chucked a fucking dart, and it landed on 3,000. So we have 3,000. It sounds great. Like I said, I'm sure there's a back table somewhere, and they did some measurements. They talked a little bit about this in the article, where what the life cycle of a hero ideally is.
Yep.
It's a really good article with some really good insights. So it's well worth reading for anybody that wants to read it. I think the fact that living is in the name of living legend lets you kind of understand they're going to treat this as a living document. They're not going to set things in stone because they know these goalposts could move as the game grows. I think that there's nothing to see here outside of, okay, good. Now we don't have to worry so much about the people that are, or the people, fuck, they're not people, they're pieces of cardboard. The heroes that are, in that second tier below Briar. We don't have to like really worry as much about them being gone too fast, type of thing. That's nice for new players coming in. I know that there's been a lot of concerns from people that we have in our communities that have asked about what happens when your hero gets living legend, or frustration about their hero getting living legend and taking breaks from the game because of it. So this is a nice thing to kind of assuage some of that and give people more of a chance to see it coming.
Yes, completely agree. I wish they had put. Now this would be easily trackable if I had like the inclination to do so, but 3,000 is the number they're shooting for next year. I wonder what this year's is, like, because there's no more like PTQ or like in-store season, so you can track like how many points are left for the year. I would be curious to see if it's 3,000 and they liked that number and then just need to go, oh wait, we have a bunch of more stores, we need to tune it down to. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like also 3,000. So I'd be curious to see if that were the case, but yeah, I think this was a good article. I think this makes sense. I think we'll see this. We'll have this conversation next year again, most likely based on what the system should do.
Yep. And then nationals have started. So this week we had nationals in Australia, Austria, Denmark, France, Hungary, Lithuania, Malaysia, Norway, Slovenia, and Vietnam. A lot of places.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of results. I was trying to scour Twitter earlier to see if I could find some stuff. I know that the French Nats final was Viserai versus Oldham. I don't know who won though. I was bad at Twitter at 4 a.m.
So we have an Aussie national champion as well from the Tall Timmy's Twitter. I just don't know what hero they're on because I'm trying to do like this like live or whatever, but he tweeted a top 8 breakdown of Viserai, 1 Viserai, 3 Icelanders, an Oldham, Dash, Dromai, and Kano. So that is a top 8,
4 wizards.
4 wizards. Yeah. 4 wizards, an Oldham, Dash, Dromai, and Viz. I like this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hero diversity. That's cool.
Is Oldham favored into that?
Into that
Icelander's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I don't know. He's there. It's over. I just can't. Roy wins, and then Roy. I can look back at his picture that had them labeled. Listen to this. This is investigative radio.
This is investigative radio, ladies
and
gentlemen.
You guys like that those true crime podcasts?
Oldham. There's literally a tweet. Sydney takes down the Oh, that's Battle. No, Oldham wins FaB TCG Nats and Battle Hardened. Was a tweet 2 hours ago.
From Tall Timmy?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
So it was Oldham.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Maybe all of the wizards self-killed.
That could be. Also, Kano gets matched against Dash, maybe. It just gets run out.
Here's what the bracket for the first round would have looked like. Viz versus Icelander, Icelander versus Oldham, assuming that Tall Timmy's like bracket is right. Kano versus Dash, Icelander versus Dromai. So Oldham went through an Icelander.
Yeah.
based on that bracket. So, well, all right. That's cool.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, that is very interesting. I'm curious to see what the results from the other companies look like. I just saw an F1 spoiler on Twitter, and I'm going to scream. So, need to close that tab. And then it wasn't the cars that I care about, so thank God. But and then we have US Nats in 2 weeks, and that will be like the format setting event, I have to imagine.
Will it though?
I think so, only because of how widespread that coverage will be. There's a calling that weekend as well. I think that one will be what we establish the baseline for Worlds.
But there's a BNR before Worlds, right?
Is there?
I thought there was.
There very well could be. I'm pulling up the rules and
don't
policy
they have
thing
like
right
a
now.
BS announcement basically every month? And then if there's nothing, they're just like nothing.
They should. I don't think they do that, right? Do they do that?
You
might be right, Abby.
I think there's definitely a schedule. I just don't know if it's monthly.
They say when the next one is in each article for sure.
Yes.
I would like monthly, where then they just like you said, Abby. Hey, there isn't any changes this week. That would be very intuitive to me. Scheduled BNS came out on the 29th of August. The next one is October 3rd. So,
which is a month before Nats.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it will react to the Nats metagame.
Also, like if Briar goes on a tear, Briar could get eliminated because they have 850 or something right now. I don't think it's possible for Oldham to LL out.
I don't think so either. Callings are worth how much? The callings are worth 100, or US Nats are worth at most 100.
100, yeah.
And they can be worth as little as 10. So
right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unless I knew he was like halfway there.
He's at 218.
218.
Oh, 218. Jesus.
Yeah,
like
he's
nowhere close.
Yeah, very little. Briar is in the hot seat. Briar is 2 big Nats away from winning.
Yep.
Or being done. We could see Briar go away. Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
It would be. And then the next highest is Viz at 400. So like,
wow,
we're not close after Briar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, like I said, you get a bunch of corner turns with some of these, but that's interesting.
It is very interesting. Yeah. There is a big ladder from first to second, which is cool for the format. I think that will be. Yeah. I think that will be cool for the format, and it looks like all stable. Of these. Yeah, it'll be stable for a while. Like it will be a long. Heroes won't be able to fix themselves by getting LL'd in a month, so we might have to see some movement from LSS if something degenerate happens. But
Dynasty has like Sloppy McTrucknuts, Rune Blade, Wizard, Illusionist,
45 health and 6 intelligence.
Essence of Earth, Ice, Lightning, and Royal. Yeah, like,
and then people would go, this card's not going to be that great, trust us.
There's no way that one's 162 pro quests. Fuck.
But yeah, so there's a lot to watch in the news. I wish there were more streams from this. It's a shame that like someone like Australia or New Zealand can't muster a stream.
They had Australia had it, and
France did. Yeah.
Oh well, I'll shut the hell up. Okay.
Cool. So next week we have Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Chechnya, Finland, Italy, Portugal, Romania, Spain, and the UK. So I'm sure
UK and Canada are the ones that
big ones.
Those are 2 to watch.
Those could kill. Briar.
Those could kill Briar.
yeah. Matt Folks is a UK national, so no doubt he'll at least be thinking about playing Promise of Plenty Briar.
Yeah. But I think Tarek had already announced what he was going to be on for Nats.
Neck Breaker Wreck Chain or
no, but maybe it was. I think he put a Dromai list out there. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But I know that he put a CFB article out there saying this is what I plan on playing in Canadian Nationals.
Gotcha. He actually, I make the Neck Breaker Wreck joke, but he does do a very good job of like, here's the deck I'll probably play. Full disclosure, things could change based on testing and meta shifts. Here's a sideboard guide. I do think he does a very good job of that. Yeah. I was only memeing about Knick Knack Brick Brack. I don't actually think.
I think we're all memeing about Knick Knack.
Knick Knack Brick Brack. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Flesh and Blood Online rebranded as Talishar.net.
Yeah, that's pretty important. I think one of the things we talked about was if this ever starts to interfere with FaB's brand, you could see LSS come in pretty hard. So the best way to do that is this.
This feels like an oh fuck button.
Yeah.
They were getting traction very fast. And if you looked at their original branding versus... So their original branding literally looked like it was an LSS product.
Yes.
Very, like, exactly. Then they changed their brandings to something that didn't look as obvious, but we're still using Flesh and Blood Online. And that quickly just changed to Talishar.
Yep.
So 100%. This is protection mode. If you haven't listened to Flake's podcast with the devs that he did on Instant Speed for Talishar.net, it's very interesting, and they are very careful in what they say. I recommend...
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They are aware of the line that they're walking. And I think that's important. I don't think that's like a negative thing. I think the tool is cool. And I think knowing that like you have this privilege that could be very well taken away is like very important. So I like that they're aware of like the position that they're in, you know.
Precarious. They started precarious.
Yes. It's funny because everybody that listens to this knows that like I am a stressor about like literally everything. And so like our logo was one of the big things that I worried about early on in the process. The logo got through Flesh and Pod legal, right?
Flesh and Blood legal.
Yeah, also early on's Flesh and Pod legal, right? I was like, all right, fine, I'll live with it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, right. Flesh and Blood Online would not have escaped my legal, right? Like it would not have made it out the door if I were the lead. Like if Logan came and goes, hey, I'd like to make our podcast called Flesh and Blood's Podcast. But absolutely not.
That's also not a masturbation joke. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
Right, a FaB, who cares? Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm a FaBer, yeah, who gives a shit?
Nobody's gonna put Proud FaBer on a t-shirt. They're gonna put Proud FaBer on a t-shirt. Come on.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Team, we love you.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I played a couple of games on Talishar this week.
Yeah.
Like it's easy. I need to figure out how to turn off the goddamn clicking noise that it makes when like an action gets taken. But otherwise, I guess I can just mute the tab. But otherwise, it's a great thing, and I like doing it.
The public part of it is still problematic because it reminds me of lobbies in Moto where a bad matchup they would just concede.
Yeah, and because like there's a difference in the system between conceding and just like quitting. Like conceding doesn't hurt your like
your stats.
Stats. Yeah, like so you just like, oh, okay, I'll concede, I don't want to play this game anymore. Isn't fun. No. Fortunately, I haven't had any bad opponents. Just lost, you know. So
yeah, you're not playing Kano though, which apparently I think it turns out I think is the culprit here. People will lobby with Kano and immediately people will just be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing this.
Yeah, you win. All right, so yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's definitely tough. But hopefully it gets stays on the path it's on.
If we had to rebrand, we'd probably rebrand as the Kano podcast because it's the same as masturbation anyway. So it's still a euphemism. You're just playing with yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a B-.
I'll take it.
All right.
It's early. I haven't been drinking.
I thought C+, but that felt too harsh. Like it's definitely B level material.
Yeah. Not my best, but not my worst.
Right. Like very serviceable, good 20th minute of the podcast joke. Like very, very fine. Won't make a highlight reel, but we needed it. You know, it's like a 2-yard gain on 3rd and 1. Like
perfect. Good analogy.
Yeah.
Very Iowa State of you.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's move on from that. That was a lot. So you guys know that thing in October that we talk about all the time?
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
I think it's the Brawl weekend that has nothing else attached to it. Is that the thing? Or
well,
there's a speakeasy attached to it.
That's right.
Oh, that's it. Okay, so it's like a tournament
and a cosplay contest.
And a cosplay contest. Yes.
Yeah, there's that too. There's also an alpha draft.
There's an alpha draft that apparently
There's
nobody
a
wants
lot
to
of
do.
attachments.
Yeah.
Hold on, but aren't we missing something?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's
Are
hard
we,
to
Abby?
remember.
Oh wait,
It's-
I know what it is.
What is
It's
it?
a Battle Hardened!
That's right.
I'm gonna have to lower that volume later. Set a time marker.
You say that I'm all quiet. I thought I would try yelling like you guys
Yeah,
do.
that's what people like in their headphones.
The funny part here is that we've had to like keep a lid on this for a while, but
Yeah.
it's fucking incredible, right?
Right. It's insane.
Sometime in person we'll tell the story of how Keith tugged all of our balls about this really hard in a group conversation. You don't remember?
No, I'm more about your analogy.
Yep.
I'm more about your analogy.
We all have metaphorical balls, sir.
No, I just didn't know they were going to be tugged.
They got tugged.
Well, okay. Well,
all right.
I'm good.
Okay. But we couldn't be more excited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is insane.
It's awesome.
I think I tweeted this, but Keith and Jacob put so much work and so much effort, and they care so fucking much about making the community and everything about it happen and bring these events to people in these big ways that are flashy, that have a lot of substance, that are a lot of fun, and to get recognized by LSS for this is just perfect. This is what needs to happen for these types of events to keep growing across the country, and for event holders, for stakeholders in this game to feel very comfortable and confident that it'll keep growing naturally and organically outside of LSS's bubble. So kudos to recognizing that and making this kind of thing happen. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for real. So if you were on the fence about coming,
get off the fucking fence.
Get off
Be
the fence.
there.
There isn't Super Armory on Friday. This is, I guess, a pseudo important announcement. There is a Super Armory on Friday before on I guess what Friday is that? The 21st.
Yep.
That has a cap of 40 players. It's Blitz. It's going to cost $10. They're going to provide pizza, and they're going to give out a full September or October, I'm not sure which one, Armory kit, like the full kit, both play mats, all the promos, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you're pre-registered for that, because that does have a hard cap of 40. Logan, you're already pre-registered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I jumped on that.
Cool. Yes. So if you're listening to this and are going to be there, you want to do that. It's going to be the armor kit plus the plus 2 booster boxes as well to the prize pool. So it's going to be sweet.
It's going to be awesome.
It is my wedding anniversary, and I'm going to be there.
Well,
I mean,
there you go, folks.
It's not quite the anniversary of my divorce yet, but I'm pushing it.
yeah. That's funny. I'm excited. It'll be fun.
That's right. So, event reminders. Saturday, 10K Classic Constructed Brawl / Battle Hardened. Doors open at... Sorry, I lost it. No, I'm not ready. Doors open at 8. Player meeting is at 9:30. Round 1 starts at 9:35. Day 2 is Team Sealed and the finals of the Battle Hardened. Team Sealed doors open at 8. Player meeting at 10. First round at 11:30. There will be win a VIP Blitz, win a VIP Ultimate Pit Fight. There will be a cosplay contest. There will be a speakeasy party. It will be dope. Do not miss it. And if you do, then
don't know what to tell you.
That sucks for you.
Like, we'll forgive you. But you should try to be there.
Yeah.
We're all on the fence about forgiveness over here.
That's right. So be there or be square. That's my new thing for this event. Don't be a square.
I would try the thing, but I would just make a triangle again, so I'm not going to do it.
I figured out a way to do it the other day, but now I can't remember what I did. So
that's the most unbelievable sentence I've ever heard in the world. Like the other day, I did this. I
was so excited about it, and I was like, "Okay, I know how to do it," and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, dude, the other day I did 1,000 push-ups like in 5 minutes. It was crazy. I just can't do it.
I'm proud of you. Sorry. That's great.
Yeah.
I got it, guys. I got it. Actual square.
Hey!
Boom. You didn't think I did it. Rude. All right. We have 5 listener questions this week. The first one is from Heldenhammer, And it's, what advice would you give to players wanting to find a new main after their hero has hit Living Legend?
Play a lot of different ones. Just like, and this is silly because like, so okay, I get why this answer sort of sucks, and because whenever you go to a new restaurant, right, and you're like, well, I want to get something new, but if it sucks, I just wasted like $10 and my time, and like I was unhappy. And that's very similar to FaB, where like, let's like say I want to try playing Chain or whatever, you know, pick a hero. And you played it and you hated it and you wasted your time and you didn't have fun, so it was all bad. Well, I get that, but you're not going to know until you do the next thing. So like, get on Talishar and fire up with an Oldham deck, or like get a buddy who's going to suffer with you while you guys both try new stuff, and like get your Oldham deck out and proxy up some cards and play it. And if you hate it, throw it in the trash. Don't throw it in the trash. Those are expensive. Ramparts are expensive, you know, but like, play the next deck. Play Viserai. Play Dorinthia. Play Rhinar. Play Dory. Play whatever, right? I think you just have to play. Like, you found your first hero, like, it sounds like, you know, either you played a bunch of heroes and stumbled on that one, or you got lucky and the first hero you played was the one you really resonated with. Either way, you know, just run that magic back again. I bet you that there is another hero for you that you'll like. Is what I would say to somebody. You just need to explore them until Living Legend comes out, and then that can be your format of focus if you want to go back to Old Bay. I don't know. Maybe that advice sucked.
This is one of those things that's very hard for me because I don't do mains. I just play. I play whatever. I try to learn what I can about everything that I can learn anything about, even though my brain is old and has basically turned to fucking bread pudding. But it's difficult for me to understand the identity crisis with people who have mains. I try my best though. And I think that your advice is sound. If you have a something that you are a main that you only play this thing and it ends up Living Legend out, or there's cards banned out of it, etc., 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 just try new things. And there are now tools to do that for free. So you do have an opportunity to kind of go in and get a feel for something else without investing a bunch of money. And that's probably very helpful for people that are in that boat. So I would say that that's very good advice, in just generally speaking.
And it's very possible that you don't like another hero, that you liked this hero, and like maybe like FaB itself isn't your juice, but like the way this hero played in the FaB system is like really what got you going. I wouldn't blame you for saying, hey, I'm going to take a break until Living Legends. I know that like our podcast is like built around community and like people getting involved in the game, but like it's very possible that like you don't like FaB itself, you liked the way this one deck interacted with the FaB game's rules engine. And like I wouldn't blame you for saying, hey, I'm going to wait until I can play my hero. I played Illusionist. I'm going to wait until this Living Legend system is real and I can play Illusionist. Wouldn't blame you for that. Do I hope you try other heroes? Yes, of course. Do I hope that you find another thing that like keeps you interested, at least in the meantime? I absolutely do. But like, if you find yourself playing the other 16 heroes in this format and don't like any of them, life's too short to spend time on stuff you hate. You know what I mean? So like, wait till Living Legend if that's the case. But please try other heroes first. Please play the Gauntlet first and see what you like. I hope that's what you do. Anyway.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Ab, what would you do if Era got banned in Blitz?
I would play FaB.
Okay.
Sorry, I like Ninja.
if both of those got Living Legend out, like,
play Katsu.
I mean? Okay, you fucker.
No, then I would play Benji.
Oh shit!
All right, well, never mind. Yeah, never mind. Bad example. All
no,
right.
I would, if that was the case, I would tell Jordan to make me a new Blitz deck, and then I would just try going from there. And then if I didn't like any of them,
downstairs and
I would just wait for the next Ninja. And that's what I would do.
I see all the cards. Yeah, I see them there.
You could see them. Abby apparently cannot.
Nope.
So
whatever.
She can build her own
Interesting. All right, question number 2 is from Chuck. What is your favorite garbage card to staple redemption story?
Wow.
Promise of Plenty has to be up there now.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely on the list. Chronic Flooding is probably mine.
What is that?
So Chronic Flooding, it's a magic card.
Okay.
Was a 2, 1 and a blue enchantment that got put on a land. Whenever the land is tapped, you would mill the top 3 cards of your library.
Okay.
And so the joke was you put it on your own land, and you milled until you hit a Unburial Rites in your graveyard, which is a reanimation spell, so it brings a creature back, and Angel of Glory's Rise, and every creature in your deck is human. So when Angel of Glory Rise comes to the battlefield, return all human creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you would mill until you hit Angel, reanimate Angel, then you have this giant board of idiots, and then the other combination, which again, garbage cards again, isn't Static Caster and Nightshade Peddler. One had like the mechanic where they they match when they hit the board at the same time. I can't remember the name of the mechanic. And then they give each other an ability. And so the Nightshade Peddler gave the Static Caster Death Touch. Static Caster's a pinger. So now you just machine gun their board and you have an infinite board presence to kill them with. It is a garbage card. And it is pointless in anything else. But here, fucking fantastic.
Someone in our Discord suggested Mishra's Bauble, which was very much just like a do-nothing artifact in Magic the Gathering. Until, like, basically you played it, you could look at the top card of your deck or your opponent's deck, and then the next upkeep draw a card. So it just replaces itself in, I don't know, and then it got really big in, like, decks that care about, like, Delve or cards of the graveyard, or that cared about different types of the graveyard, and became, like, a very big staple. It went from, like, 10 cents to, like, $10 overnight. And it was really
topped out at like 30.
Yeah. The best story I have about the weekend that it spiked, we were driving back from some Grand Prix, and we like stopped at some local game store that we found on Google Maps, and like they had like a big bulk bin, and we were just fishing through it and grabbed. They had a stack of these in the 10-cent bulk bin, so we went to the guy and we're like, hey, like we tried to do the right thing. We were like, hey, that these are not 10 cents anymore. Like literally yesterday they went up to like $10, and he's like, yeah, I don't care, you can have them for 10 cents a piece. We're like, yes,
you got it, buddy.
You can. Here's $1. Yeah, like
I guess we should talk about the real one here. The real trash and treasure card that exists in Magic is Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yeah, sure.
I still find them where people have sharpied out the Lion's Eye Diamond part and wrote like Mox Diamond or something, which I guess is equally expensive now, but just markering, using them as proxies constantly because they were worth nothing, and now they're hundreds of dollars a piece because they're reserved with staples.
For reference, there's a lightly played one on TCG Player right now for $504. And so for people that don't know Magic or don't know this card, it's a 0-mana artifact, so it's free to play. You sacrifice it and get 3 mana of any color, which is insane, but you have to discard your whole hand. So there is like certain decks want this, namely like Storm decks will go off with this, and like do things before they discard their hand, but after they add the mana and stuff like that. It's complicated. There's some combos with it, but it does read just like, oh, I discard my hand and make 3 mana. Why is that good? And then, oh, well, there are other things that care about that. What's a good FaB one? We've done
Promise of Plenty's really up there.
Yeah, it might be the best one. Was there anything on Bravo that we were like, because the joke about Bravo was it was just like it was just like a draft deck. But like none of the cards were like trash. They were just like inefficient attackers, right?
Well, Autumn's Touch went from unplayable to suspended.
Right.
There is that.
That's a good one. Channel Mount Heroic kind of strikes me as one of those cards, like in a different vein, only because like it wasn't played in like the Redline Briar that like Tarek Patel like popularized, right? It was very much a later ad after like Plunder Run and stuff got ad, but it wasn't like trash, right? Like it was always like fine. So I mean, it was a channel mount, so it was like always had some juice. So it's not really in the spirit of the question, but Promise of Plenty, Autumn's Touch,
maybe even Belittle.
I would imagine that like I want to say Belittle, but I don't think that's. My only pushback is that I think Belittle has actually always been good. We were just bad. Whereas like Promise of Plenty, I think is
sure.
objectively bad, but like the deck like does something cool with it that's made it really useful. Now I could be saying it as a distinction without a difference. You could be like, I don't know what the spirit of their question is, but I think we as a community were just dumb on deck building with Belittle. Not like, whereas I think
That's
Promise
possible.
of Plenty is good in like the deck it's good in, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you aren't going to see like 9 copies of Promise of Plenty jammed into like every deck now.
Abby, what's the worst Lorcana card so far?
None of them. They're all great. They are not worth $3,000 though, so do not secondhand buy them. And
Well,
the people that do that are terrible people. I hate that.
Disney scalpers are bad, man.
It's awful. I hate people that do that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I buy things and then I keep them for myself and don't resell them because I wanted them. I'm not trying to hold it from somebody to make a profit. I have a lot of strong feelings about this. So
capitalism.
Capitalism, baby.
Yep. There it is.
Now do it with water. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
We're not in Flint.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
Right. Yeah.
Or
like
I was like a month
anything.
ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, question number 3 is from Keith. Now that the game has advanced, do you think the Era Welcome event deck is still the best teaching tool for a new player? Or is there better options now? Other Blitz decks, Classic Battles, Commoner?
This is a good question. I use the Classic Battles deck, but I have heard good feedback that Dorinthia is a miserable hero to teach on. It does not operate on the same axis as like most Flesh and Blood decks, so it gives a bad impression of what it is. And I also think it like stomps the Rhinar deck in that thing. People say they're really close, but like I've never seen the Rhinar person like win. So I want to say the Era Welcome decks. I think Commoner is pretty good though. If you want to give like a diversity of heroes from like if a person is like ingrained in the TCG life, Commoner is probably just a very acceptable place to start. If they are brand new to like what a TCG is, Era Welcome events are like very, very good. Her hero box is very simple. It's also powerful and like it is a good tool. But I use Classic Battles because like I have it and I have it like sleeved up and like the people that I teach are like ingrained to card games, so like it's not that big of a deal. But I've definitely heard good pushback about, or valid pushback I should say, about Classic Battles. I don't know. Logan, what are you guys using over there?
I mean, we use Blitz decks, Commoner decks, Ira decks. We use a little bit of everything. There's something elegant about the Welcome deck though, because it has a little bit of everything mechanically in the base game. You attack with weapons. It has simple lines of text that are very easy to define. It has defense reactions and it has attack reactions. So it has all the basics to get started. So it's, like I said, it's a very elegant solution to just show the game exactly how it should be played as far as mechanically. I think it's hard to replicate that with a lot of the other heroes because they have these crazy nuances like Intimidate. You mean I don't get this card's in my hand, but it's not in my hand? Yeah, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Or along those lines of Dorinthia, there's no attacks. It's just bash with weapon. And that's not common. That's not, your weapon is your secondary advancement for non-warrior heroes. And in some heroes, you don't have a weapon. Ranger, again, bad to teach with because you have these cards that say attack and they don't actually attack. You have to use a bow to do anything with them. So I think that the Welcome decks are still a very good teaching tool to begin the game with. I'm not sure. And then you can level up from there. I think that that's when you advance to, okay, let's try some different heroes with some different text after you get used to the base game. And on and on and on. You can use Classic Battles. I don't think it's bad to. I do think it would frustrate whoever you make play the Rhinar deck, because if they don't Alpha Rampage for 1 billion out the gate, it starts to feel kind of shitty.
Yeah.
So I guess my opinion is I would still use the Ira decks as the very first teaching tool.
I think so. So Beyond the Board in Columbus, they do the thing where they build There's a guy on Reddit, and it's escaping me, and I'm going to try to track the link down for the show notes. But he builds like intro decks for each hero from each set, as like a beginner guide. Is it Dex Drafts? I don't. It's a very well produced thing where it basically says like, here is the FaB beginner deck, and the cards in that deck don't overlap with any other cards from any of the other decks.
Yeah.
So if you just have a bunch of bulk, you can build a bunch of decks, and like it's really cool. So Beyond the Board builds a bunch of decks for each hero, and it's like, hey, like so if they come from another game, hey, what did you play in that game? Okay, you might like this. Or if you played an RPG, I have a friend that asked this. He says, if you were going to play Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft, what class would you play? You know, what role would you like to play? And then based on what they said, hand them like that commoner deck, and then go from there. Because I do think that FaB does phenomenally well with the flavor of their classes. Like with Lexi, you do feel like you're shooting a bow. With Oldham, you do feel like you're this like, big turtle, you know. Until you're not, you know.
Man,
Ninjas do feel like they're coming at you from all different angles, and they're very difficult to block, you know. So I liked that question a lot. That was very unique. But if you're teaching someone off the street that's never played a TCG before, I think the Euro welcome decks are insane. Ab, do you have any thoughts on this? You've taught your or been involved in the teaching of your family.
It's terrifying if I'm teaching somebody.
Yeah, well, what do you think? Good. Do you think that they got it through the right way, or how would you have handled that?
I think that the Euro deck is the best way to start, and then kind of going from there. Because once you have the basics down from Blitz, which I know not everybody loves, like you can move into Classic Constructed. But I think Classic Constructed can be very overwhelming if it's the first time that you're trying to play it, especially if you've never played like a game like this. So that's where I would start.
Magic had a product that was like the very first thing you saw when you opened the box was do not shuffle this deck. And Portal. It was, what's that, Portal?
Mm-hmm.
And
the
like
Portal 2-player set.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool. It was like, hey, you're going to draw this set of cards, and we're going to walk you through a game. And then you can shuffle it up and do it all you want. But like, hey, you're going to tap a land, and that does this. And then you're going to play this thing because you can. And you drew a card, and I know what that card is because you didn't shuffle the deck. I don't know how that works in FaB. It would be a little more challenging. But like, and there's always like the user error of like, maybe they just like shuffle the deck, right? Like, then you're fucked. So like, I don't know. That's an interesting idea to think about too, is whether that could incorporate into Flesh and Blood.
Question number 4 is from Corianis, and it's saw a tweet about foil cards at big events, even with the use of, say, KMC Perfect Fit hard inner sleeves. Do you still recommend no foils? Add on, if you are running no foils, are you double or single sleeving for tournaments?
Logan, we are of the same mind of this.
We are.
The bottom, I think. So
there's one real problem, and that real problem is the fucking fabled gems. And because they exist, and they existed at a time when the foils were more prone to warping, and if you don't want to shell out $18K for a cold foil Hardefiandel, then because cold foils just don't warp as much. It's you so as an example, I'm just going to use this. I built Icelander, and it plays a Hardefiandel in it. So I have taken KMC hard inners and sleeve the entire deck that way, and then intentionally put a mix of foils and non-foils in there so that you can never cut to one specific card over and over and over again. And even then, it's still hard to not cut to the Hardefiandel because it's the most warped card in the deck because it's a WTR rainbow foil.
Right.
So that's where I would say I would recommend no foils if possible. Like just straight out of the box. You can't get hit if all your cards are non-foil. Even if all of your cards are foil, you still have a possibility of some things being warped more than others.
Yep.
Now, KMC hard inners or any hard inner sleeve, and then hard oversleeve, because there are both. It makes your deck dummy thick, like 6Cs, but it also kind of insulates you against those things being easy to cut to or easy to locate within the deck. I'm okay-ish playing just hard inners with Dragon Shield over, or Dragon Shield regular dual mat sleeves, and I can't consistently cut to the same card even if there's warping involved, but it's not worth the risk if you don't have to. Just don't play foils. Like, that's, and if you do insist on playing foils, you play 100% if you can. That is the only way to insulate yourself against losing in a tournament due to, you know, you having a marked card. That's it.
I would also, if you're gonna insist on playing foils, because you might have to, like with Fabled, or you like them, I would go up to a judge before the tournament starts. If this is like a tournament that like is competitive roll or higher and matters, I would go up to, competitive roll or higher matters is relative, but that has like strict penalty enforcement. That's more what I mean. Like your armory matters. I don't mean to like diminish what people like. I would go to a judge and say like, hey, I have foils. I have a foil in my deck that like I can't not have a foil of because they never made one without a foil. Can you like see if you can cut to it? And then like I would get that judge's name and be like, I took it by Suzanne, and Suzanne said we were in the clear. I'm going to need you
to sign this affidavit.
Yeah,
stating specifically, and I have my notary with me.
Exactly. So, right. Right. Yeah.
I'm not getting fucked here.
Sign the fable on the card. Yeah.
Yes, please sign my Arknight shard. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's my my advice too, is don't play them if you can. So like the answer to would you still recommend them? Would you still recommend no foils even if you're double sleeving? Yes, I still recommend no foils. If you are running no foils, are you double or single sleeving? Single sleeving. Sweet God.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Like,
sweet God.
I riffle shuffle the shit out of things in single sleeves. I don't give a fuck.
Even if you're not a riffle shuffler, just like the idea of not having this thick, like banana bread loaf of like cards in your hand. Like, oh my God, I'm not Abby, but like at the same time, like I have a limit, you know, like I just, you know, it's incumbent upon me to make things easy, and it is cumbersome to like shuffle double sleeve cards. So
that's well put. Now, banana bread, are you a walnuts guy or no?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm not a big, I'm a smooth peanut butter guy. Like I don't like a crunch where I don't feel like there's supposed to be a crunch. Mm-hmm. Now I'll eat it. Like I'm not like, no thank you, right? Of course. But like I'm not a walnut guy.
No thank you. Absolutely not.
Who? I assume you're a walnut pro walnut?
Yes. I mean, clearly, like walnut and banana bread is the fucking blade. What are you talking about?
Oh my God! Wow, imagine being that wrong and that confident.
That's right.
My God, you guys.
Some
people shit on Ohio, and people shit on Ohio, and I sit here and try to defend it every now and again just to make sure, but I can't anymore.
I shit on Ohio, and I live here. You
shit on Mansfield.
No, I shit on all of Ohio. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, right. We don't have time with the show, but in true Ohio hatred, I need to tell you about the rules that they're implementing for like sports gambling and like the live sites and the places that you can't gamble live. And like they would make a cool thing like sports gambling legal and ruin it. This place is a nightmare.
Are they spelling out the rules with police helicopters in Columbus at the cost of taxpayers?
Do you see that? You see that? Yeah, Jesus.
Yes. Okay. Question number 5 is from Vladimir. It's a 2-part question, so we're going to do part 1, and then we'll move on to part 2. First one is, can you be great at playing a game, but bad at building decks? Logan.
Yes.
Jordan. Yes.
They're just different skills. Charles Leclerc is good at driving a Ferrari, but is not probably an engineer.
There you go. Question number 2, can you be great at building decks, but a bad player?
This is fun because we know the answers.
Yes.
I'm going to say no, but I don't know if
I would say yes.
So
I don't know if I can defend my position. I don't know.
Invert your analogy. Can you be great at building a car and not great at driving it, at 178 miles per hour?
When I thought of that analogy in the shower the other day after we had talked on Discord about this, I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I thought about the inverse of my analogy, but then I legitimately do think that it's belaboring the analogy to the point where it's not useful, because like engineering and deck building are not the same in terms of like in the context of playing cards. I think you need to know interactions and how they work and like what the game plan is for a deck before you build it, or as you're building it, develop that. And I don't know if the analogy plans out that far for like race cars. But again, I'm completely aware that I might not actually be able to defend this as we keep talking.
My thought on it is like pool. So I can tell you how you should hit the ball. I can tell you the angle that you should hit it at. I can tell you like what kind of spin you should put on it to make it happen. And then you hand me a cue and I miss everything. But I can tell you how it's supposed to be, but I can't execute it. And that's what makes me think of.
Maybe
I can put it together, but then when times come to do it, I can't.
But with billiards, there's a physical component to that, right? Like you have to like physically manipulate the stick or whatever. But with like cards, there isn't that physical component. Like if in your head you can like map out I need to hit the ball here and hit the ball here and then do all these things. In cards, you can just do that. The only physical mechanic is like literally laying the cards down and saying them in the right order. But it sounds like from that perspective, you're already doing that in your head. You know what I mean? And I don't want to belabor your analogy, backwards either.
So there's my thought on this is if you can build a deck, to be very good with everything built in for the matchups, understand what's going on, but then just not have the real-time spatial reasoning within a game to identify the correct line at the point, because there's no way to actually map out every single scenario. So while you made a plan while building the deck, you may be outside of your plan and not be able to reason through how to get back to the plan that you originally had. That is 100% possible. I think about things like Mike Flores is without a doubt one of the best deck builders that Magic ever had.
Yep.
His reasoning, his thought process, he is not one of the best players that Magic ever had.
Okay, fair enough.
He was good. He was never great.
Does he have a PT win?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
But it's just one of those things where you can be in that spot where you're very good at amazing at building this pile of cards. And then when it comes down to piloting it into different situations that you haven't necessarily seen, you don't have the reasoning or ability as quickly as you need to identify the correct thing to do because you hadn't thought about it before. So, and that's what separates it. It's like the kind of the separation between art and science. Like deck building is one of the two, and it's two sides of the coin, right? And some people are great at both. That's so but it's not a necessity. It's not exactly, they're parts of the same whole, but there are people who are only good at one side of that whole.
All right. I've been turned around, I think I've been turned around. It's funny because as soon as I said this, someone on our Discord, I think it was Mara, was like, no, I'm definitely bad at playing, but I'm a good deck builder. And I was like, well, fuck, now I need to think about this and like the grand scope of things. And like, if someone's going to like come out and say that, like, that's cool, like to like be an example of that. And now I need to think about it because I didn't like think these people existed. And then you said Mike Flores, who's like a shining example of that. His best finish ever is 17th at a Pro Tour. So like, like you said, one of the pinnacle deck builders of our time, of our game, Magic. So yeah, I guess I don't. Yeah, all right, turned around.
All right,
we did it.
There we go.
And Mara's full of shit. She's actually very good at playing.
Yeah, that was the other thing that made me like push back. I was like, I think people also underestimate how good they are because we all spend time in worlds with like the best.
Yeah,
like if you listen to the show, you're probably a top 5% FaB player in the world. Just like
I was birding Mara playing Dagon on TTS and Dromai into Oldham, and her lines were set and her pitch stack was set so good that she had to leave to go get dinner and then turned over the game in a very crucial spot to Donkey, which is me, to finish it. And I managed to win because her pitch stack put me to the exact line needed to win. Like I didn't need to think too much about it. I was just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Okay. I think people are underestimate themselves, especially in competitive spaces, because you probably associate with people that are better than you, which like, you should be, right? So like we often are like, oh, I'm an idiot because I'm friends with Dagon. It's like, no, Dagon's just like insane, right? So like, one brain cell go hard.
That's right.
Go burr.
Or brain. That's a bad joke. That's an F.
Yeah, never do that again.
Don't laugh. If you laughed, you're fired.
All right.
I laughed at that part.
That part was funny, I think. Yeah.
So let's do our Patreon shout out for our executive producers and up. So we have Michael B, Alan B, Corey S, Ben M, Teague W, Ricky, Nick D, Kenny, Josh L, Ed M, Taylor A, Philip P, and May L. If you are interested in joining, it is patreon.com/flushandpod. We have 4 tiers, so if you hop over there, you can take a look at those. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FlushPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at flushandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. I got half of the possum shirts out. There's a picture in the Discord of Deggans. Kevin's delivered yesterday, so I'm assuming that we will get an update on that here soon. And yeah, there was a cute possum picture this week, Logan. I don't think you ever responded to it, which is rude, but it was adorable.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sure didn't.
Sure didn't. Nope.
That's funny.
It's rude.
You know, you can find me on Twitter at Logan Peterson. It is fucking gambling season, baby. So we are laying some lines. We are betting some real degen shit sometimes. Thank you, Georgia State. You are chef's kiss because Nebraska's bad. And we've already started down the path of trying to figure this shit out, and now we're become a sports gambling flesh and blood degen circle on my Twitter without ever having a Twitter circle. So it's going to remain unhinged, and we will always have fun there. Or you can find me in our Discord where I'll be bodying Dagan for looking like the possums on his fucking shirt. Jordan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at I'm Jerman, also tweeting a lot about sports gambling. It's really good time of year for like this type of sports fans that Logan and I are. So like baseball is like hitting its peak. Football is as good as it'll get all year before I start hating the Browns.
That's today.
Yeah, it's today. It happens in 2 hours. So by the time you've heard this, it's over already. F1 is in like, you know, this season doesn't matter because Red Bull and Max Verstappen are insane, but like it's F1 is like ramping up towards its pinnacle. Like there is so much good stuff going on like in that world. So doing a lot of that. FaB is also crazy. So just come over and hang out, man. Like put me in your Twitter circle. I feel super cool when I see that. I don't have one, but put me in yours. That's where I'm at with life. Ab, you did yours already, Ab.
Yeah,
all right.
But I always go first.
You know.
Weird. All right.
Well, everybody else throws to everybody, so that was my mistake.
Yeah, we know that you're not a very good tosser, so we just go ahead and...
Okay. That is all we have for this week, and we will talk to you next week. Bye!